With this. So here we go. Right in the middle of all this let's get together mood in Washington, the dinner with Republican senators, the breakfast with Paul Ryan himself and his Democratic counterpart, Chris Van Hollen. Out pops the killer rabbit, if you will, the mad bomber. Paul Ryan, hardly finished with his breakfast at the White House, is suddenly out there with the wingnuts calling for the all-out elimination of the Affordable Care Act, President Obama's hard-won health care bill. The measure written into law by a vote of the House and his 60-senator supermajority, Ryan now proposes killing. He wants to do a pretty good job of Medicare, too, while he's in the killing business, calling for an elimination of Medicare, as people know it, and replacing it with a voucher system so that people in their late 70s and 80s and 90s, I suppose, can go out and have a late-in-life adventure of shopping for health care insurance. What an ingenious way to, quote, save money. My question is why the newspapers keep acting as if this guy, Paul Ryan, is some big Republican brain. Is this the person with whom the president needs to strike a grand bargain? If so, we've got problems. Let's see. You say health care, Mr. President. I say no health care. You say Medicare, Mr. President. I say vouchers. Where do you find the middle ground on those two? I'm joined by David Corn, who's with Mother Jones, of course, and Grio.com's the great Joy Reid. Joy, you can start here. I have to tell you, I'm flabbergasted, only in the sense that everybody keeps telling me that Paul Ryan's got some smarts. And here in the middle of all this get together and let's find a middle ground, let's work together, he pops out with, let's kill President Obama's place in history to start the conversation. That'll warm him up.
Yeah,
your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it was about him that Paul Krugman said it's sort of a dumb person's view of what a smart person sounds like, because this is the pretense of seriousness. I mean, Paul Ryan is essentially trying to propose to balance the budget in 10 years. His previous draconian budget did so in something like 40. So in order to meet this new ideological purity test, which is austerity at all costs, budget balancing, this new sort of fetish on the right, he's decided to take a meat axe, not only to Medicare, as you said, voucherizing it again, which he already proposed and was rejected before, but then there's this idea which is totally disingenuous, as if there's a single Democrat breed in Washington, they're not going to repeal the Affordable Care Act. It is not going to happen, and he knows it. He's putting it in there because his numbers don't add up, and he can't make them add up. And just one other quick thing.
If he were to accomplish it, reason why. I'm sorry, there is a Machiavellian reason why he did it.
His numbers don't add up.
Here, Chuck Todd came up with this. If he says, I'm going to eliminate health care, the Obamacare program, affordable health, if I'm going to eliminate, and I put that as one of the features in my budget, then every Republican in the House has to vote for it. Because if he or she, Republican, votes against it, they will be accused of being for Obamacare. Well, this is the ingenious craziness of this. Yes. It's in a reverse poison pill. Yes. Let me go to David for a second.
Well, it'd be the equivalent of Barack Obama coming out and saying, I want to cut a deal on the grand bargain with Republicans, but I insist on a single-payer Canadian-style health care plan. If you don't do that, I'm not talking to you.
Right.
If he said that, would everyone in the Beltway go out and say, what a smart, intelligent, thoughtful leader that president is? He'd be pilloried from everybody, you know, from the center to the right here. Yet you're right, Paul Ryan can come out and do this.
How does he get the free ride with the press?
You know, maybe the bar is very low for some Republicans compared to Newt Gingrich or Herman Cain. I mean, I do like the line that, you know, that came out a year or two back when he first proposed this budget, and people like Bill Clinton and Barack Obama in a more gentle manner said, wait a second, tell me how it's courageous to cut Medicare and Medicaid and not tax the wealthy.
And by the way, as pointed out here later this afternoon, Joy, not just did he propose these terrible cuts in programs that really affect old people in this country on health care who really depend, and by the way, they paid into it, depend on Medicare. People watching this program right now, for maybe half our viewers, either have it or expect to get it soon. They're wondering, why does this guy want to cut them? Meanwhile, huge tax breaks for the rich. He is Ayn Rand personified here. He is not a deficit hawk. He believes in taking savings, if you want to call them savings, from people who need care from the government, if you want it, and then give it to rich people.
No, absolutely. And Paul Ryan's ideology is not about cutting the deficit. It's not about reducing the size of government. It's about shifting the focus of what government invests in. That Ayn Randian philosophy that spending money on poor people and old people is a waste of money. You should spend it on
looters.
They're just looters. They're just taking.
The looters. Remember that?
Exactly right.
Now we call them the takers.
It's the takers versus the makers.
It's the same argument. It's a